What's up, everybody? It's time for a Q&A. I haven't done one of these in probably years, honestly. So I've got a bunch of questions here on my community tab. I have not looked at any of them ahead of time, so this should just be my raw reaction to any of the questions. And just as an extra thing to make this a little bit more interesting, here's what I'm going to do. This is a brand new cubicle mask. I've never put it on before. This is going to be the first time I put it on. I am going to need to cut off this tag. I should have thought of this ahead of time. But the reason I'm putting it on is because there's been a conspiracy theory going around, and it's been going around for nearly a year now, that when you put on a mask, it's difficult to breathe. And in order to prove that that's absolutely not true, I'm going to have that on for the whole Q&A. I'm going to be talking the whole time. I'm not going to take it off, and it's not going to be a problem. Wear a mask, people. We're trying to get out of this terrible situation. Also worth mentioning, if you want to get one of these, the link will be in the description. Ooh, that looks nice. Not gonna lie. Covers up all the bad scabbing and acne I have right now. Okay, very top comment. Do you lie to yourself when no one's looking? Absolutely not. I speak only the truth. Which PB or PR are you most proud of? That really has to be my 1191 official one-handed average. I think one-handed is the event that I've worked the hardest on over the past several years, and I think that's my best official result. Then, next question in there. What do your parents think about you dedicating, I guess, is all of your time to speedcubing and YouTube? They have been very supportive since the beginning. They've always been supportive in terms of taking me to competitions and all that. It helps that from the beginning I've always paid for my own cubes. At least I always did until I got sponsored. And then I think it helps now that it's a source of income, so it's basically like a job, or at least YouTube is a source of income. So that is sort of, I think that's why they let me just make videos all the time as opposed to like having a social life, is because in theory it's something productive and it counts as a job. Brody, will you ever please the people who please you? So I don't think so, honestly. So basically anyone, this is true in cubing and anything else, anyone who has like a certain level of expertise in something thinks that their exact approach is the best approach, at least in some way. So for example, because I've had to put so much work into controlling my nerves in order to perform in competition, my approach values consistency over everything else, and I stand by that approach. Now, I think that people that do the Brody Please stuff, they think that their approach is the best approach, and they have many good arguments for it, but because they think that's the best approach, they're not going to be happy with my style until I solve exactly like them. And even if I do that, then there's other people that aren't going to be happy with it. I'm never going to be able to make everyone happy. The only thing I should care about is making myself happy with my competition results. Actually, I know I said I'm not going to take this off, but this one's falling off, so I'm going to actually switch this one out for a different mask that fits on better. Okay, second mask. And this one's a little bit more elastic. This one's not going to fall off. This is the one I wear like every day. Probably should wash it more often. What is my favorite cube of all time? I think that's got to be the Valk 3. I think it was my first really amazing 3x3 main. It was the 3x3 that I used to get my first official sub 10 average. I brought my average all the way down to 849 with it. Now it's my OH main, and it's just so versatile in terms of how many different ways you can make it feel and perform based on what you want. It's got to be the Valk 3. Is it possible to get really good at multiple events all at once? Absolutely. I mean, look at someone like Stanley Chappell, who is like top few hundred in the world in absolutely everything, and like top 100, top 50, and who knows how many events. He's absolutely incredible. And if you are as dedicated to cubing as he is, I think similar results are possible. Maybe not to his level, but very good nonetheless. Many people ask me, what is the use of cubing? What can I reply to them? It's fun. Like, Do you ever ask people, like, what's the point in playing video games? Sometimes there isn't a point, it's just you enjoy it. A lot of people are quick to say that things like video games or whatever are a waste of time, but if you enjoy what you're doing, it's not a waste to be doing something you enjoy unless it's interfering with other important things in your life. Does not being color neutral have an effect if you want to be fast? Of course it has an effect, but it's not absolutely detrimental. In fact, the 2019 World Champion solves on white cross only. So it's not an end-all be-all, but of course it does offer an advantage. I'm not an expert on how big that advantage is because I only do white and yellow cross, but the advantage is definitely there. So if you are going to learn to be color neutral, start as soon as possible. Has cubing ever taught you any life skills you found useful outside of cubing, like mentality or things like that? Cubing taught me how to get good at things. And the way to get good at things is to get obsessed and then constantly be self-reflective about what you could be doing better and then fix it. That's how you get better at just about anything. And for more fun applications, have you ever played the Quizlet game where it's like, you have I would do this for Spanish, where there's the word and then the definition and you have to drag one over to match it? If you know how to look ahead on 3x3, you will be an absolute pro at that game on Quizlet and you'll be at the top of the leaderboards. When you started cubing, how long did it take you to get to sub 20 seconds? When I first started, I was sub 20 within about 4 or 5 months. My first competition, or it was my second competition, a little under 6 months after I started cubing, and I got a low 17 official average there. So that's a good benchmark, or not a good benchmark, but a good representation of how quickly I improved. How did I get that damn mustache? I got it by not shaving for 2 months. It started with No Shave November, and then I did a Twitch sub goal, where if I got to a certain amount of subs, I can't even remember how many anymore, I would shave the beard and keep the mustache. I did the stream where I shaved the beard, and then I just kept the mustache until a bunch of people told me it was ugly. And then, like the day after I shaved it, then people started telling me it looked good. So, again, you just can't please everybody. Will you make a how to be sub 15 video? Right now, that is a sub goal on my Twitch. So, in theory, I'm going to, in the future when I reach that sub goal, I need to start mentally planning it and all that, and it'll take a while, but the answer is probably yes. Will you do any tutorials on any WCA puzzle besides 3x3? If not, can you link some channels that do tutorials? So I have a policy on this channel where I only make tutorial videos on things that I'm qualified to teach. And for the most part, that's 3x3, one-handed, and basic stuff for 2x2 and 4x4, maybe. So I stick to the stuff I'm good at. So I'm not good at big cubes, I'm not good at blind, I'm not good at pyramid cubes, square one, clock, fewest moves, any of those things. So I'm not the right person to go to for those tutorials. I think for big cubes, Kevin Hayes has a really good series. What was it, Tuesday Tips? And other than that, I honestly don't know who to go to a lot of the time. If any of you guys have suggestions for tutorials for specific events from people that are experts, please leave the comments so that other people can find them. I will heart some of the really good ones. What's something that motivated you when learning? The big motivation at first was I had a guy in my math class who averaged 30-ish seconds, and I wanted to be faster than him because I thought it was really cool that people gave him a bunch of attention and praise for how fast he was. So the first thing I wanted to do was get faster than him, and it took me about 2 weeks to get to sub 30, and then I just kept going from there. Am I lying to myself? Yes. Have you ever won a competition? If only there was a place where you could check whether I've won a competition. How do you memorize your cross plus one during inspection? I mean with notations or just motions of pieces? I try to picture how things are moving for the most part. So I don't think like R, L, D, F, whatever. I think of moving in that piece, which sets up the next one, and then the pair's right here. That's how I picture it, and it becomes more and more natural the longer you practice it. When will I hit 100K? When you guys get me to 100K. So subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, share the channel with your friends, help me get there as soon as possible. Will I ever try blind? I mean, I can do blind. It's not really a priority for something I want to learn. I don't really have any interest in more than a couple events, honestly. I don't think I'm going to get good at any new events besides some of the ones I have planned. How did I get my YouTube logo? So I was like a brand new cuber. I was watching Red KB's tutorial on the heart pattern on the 7x7, and I, at the time, figured out how to modify that concept to make any pattern I wanted. So I made the smiley face. So the normal standard like smiley face logo thing is yellow with black for the eyes and mouth, and the closest I had to black was blue. So I made that. My first ever channel logo was an actual picture of a Shengxiao 7x7 with that pattern on it. And then about a year later, I figured out how to make it in Photoshop, and then that's my logo. How many solves do you have recorded on CS Timer? Close to 40,000, I think. I'll have to double check. What event do you want to improve at the most? Definitely 3x3 one-handed. I want to get a sub 11 official average. I think if everything goes perfect at my current skill level, I can get like 10.5, 10.4. I'm at 11.9 right now, so I got a lot of room to improve, and I still need to keep improving my skills. Can I stream more on Twitch? I would, but my internet's iffy. My mom works from home on Zoom, my brother's doing online school from home, and they get higher priority in terms of making sure the internet works. My streaming comes last in terms of that priority, and that's the main barrier to me streaming. How do you scramble fast? By learning how to turn fast, and I have a video on that I will link in the card right there. I think that's where the cards are. Where did I get my first Rubik's Cube? My first Rubik's brand was from Target in like 2010 maybe even before that. And then my first speed cube was a Xanchi I got off of Amazon in like 2015. Hi, I'm pretty bad at cubing. Please tell me how to learn and get motivation and how to be better. So, motivation, a good video that will help you is the one I've made called Get Fast Now or You Never Will. And then in terms of resources, this is the perfect channel for resources on how to get faster at 3x3, from my F2l tutorial to anything else you could want that's based on 3x3 with the CFOT method. Do you play Among Us? Yes, I do, although not as much anymore. Do I have another channel for Among Us? No, I don't. And laptop or mobile? I play on mobile, which is why I can't stream Among Us either. I'm not able to stream it. How's Brody, the editor? He's doing just fine. He's probably in the dungeon right now, pissed at me, because this is going to be a long video. What is your current ranking in the world for 3x3? If only there was a place where you could check what my current rankings are in the world for WCA events. Do you think I should buy your critique? Is it worth it? I definitely think it's worth it. I've gotten really good at giving advice that helps people address the things that they need to work on. So it's really up to you. If you think you can get there on your own, then of course do that. If you want some extra help, you can come to me and get my solve critiques, which I also have linked in the description. What is my least favorite event? Definitely Pyraminx. To this day, I only own one Pyraminx, and it's the original Moyu from like 2015. It's up there on my shelf somewhere. And also, I'm never going to compete in Pyraminx ever again. So, yeah. Here's an OH question. How do you get better at OH, and how do you get more confident at turning? So, getting better at OH, turning is the most important thing, and how you get better at turning, I did a lot of RU2 gen stuff, because that's how you're going to be spending 90% of your solves. So RU2 gen scrambles, you can find them in CS Timer. I did a ton of those. You know that you're doing enough when the hand that you do OH with, your forearm starts feeling firmer than the other one. That's how you know you're doing enough. And then I do a ton of that. And then after that, the most important thing is getting good at doing the Z rotation so that you can do pairs on the left side. Would you add any event to the WCA? If yes, which? I've always thought that team blind would be really cool at competitions, but maybe that's just me. I know it would be hard to regulate, but that would be really cool. Would you ever consider learning F2l on left? Absolutely not. I don't think that's worth it whatsoever. Can you recommend any good budget cube? I just posted a video about the Diane Guhan V4, which costs $14.99, and it costs 5% less if you use the discount code BrodytheCuber when you order from the Cubicle. It's my new main. I think it's absolutely awesome, and I recommend it for just about anyone. Why do you have so few OH tutorials? Are you hiding the tips because it's your main event? Honestly, it's because not a lot of people care about the OH tutorials as much as the 3x3 ones. I think if I am going to make more OH tutorials, a lot of it would be more basic stuff, like, so I have the series, how to actually solve a Rubik's Cube in under 5 seconds, how to solve a 2x2 in under 1 second. I could do how to solve a Rubik's Cube one-handed in under 10 seconds or something like that. I think that is probably the best OH tutorial I could make in terms of getting people into the event. But making some like more advanced tutorials about the stuff that only applies to a few hundred people in the world, a lot of people aren't interested in that, honestly, and that's the main issue. How old am I? I am 18 years old. What's your PB? My PB is 4.32 from last August, I think. Have I ever surfed? I have not, but I really want to try. What advice do you have for a small YouTuber channel that puts a lot of effort into their videos but still has a low audience? First of all, keep trying. It takes time no matter what. Second of all, never just accept that your videos are good enough. Because even if you think they're good, they can always be better, and sometimes they need to be better to attract more people. So always try to make them better. Never just say that's good enough. The exact same thing applies for cubing. If you accept that like you're good enough at F2L or whatever, that's when you stop improving at F2L. How to be sub 10 video soon? Sub 15 is going to come first. Sub 12 maybe after that, but sub 10 is definitely something I'd like to do. When did you learn full OLL and PLL? Full PLL I learned by about April 2015, so that took about 4 months after I started cubing, and I learned full OLL by about September 2015, so that was about 9 months. Have I ever done blind? Yes, my PB is about 216. Do you think that you can get a sub 4 3x3 single soon? I really hope so. I think I've got the skill, but everything needs to go right. My favorite sport is probably all the weightlifting sports, at least when it comes to watching. So Olympic weightlifting is really fun to watch, powerlifting, strongman even. I really like watching those, honestly, because that's something I'm doing now, is some weightlifting stuff. Who do you think will break the 3x3 world record single next? I think it'll be Max Park with a 3.39. What camera do you use in editing software? I use a Canon EOS Rebel SL2, and then I edit with Final Cut Pro. And are you going to Worlds? Probably not, but fingers crossed. How long did it take you to be sub 8, and what tips do you have for surpassing that barrier? So I got my first sub 8 average about 4 years after I started cubing, so that was in January 2019. And the biggest tip there, it was really in terms of controlling my nerves in competition was the big thing there. But in terms of like 3x3 skill, your inspection needs to be spot on in terms of planning your first pair. Your look ahead needs to be really good. So if you need to put a lot of focus into those things. And that's honestly what got me there, because anyone can turn fast, anyone can execute like their A-perms in 0.6 or whatever, but not everyone can do inspection really well and look ahead really well. So that's really what starts to set you apart. Top 5 favorite bands. Oh. See, that's the thing. Now I gotta decide like the ones I'm into now or all time or what. You know what? I'm gonna spend some time thinking about that, and I'll have editor Brody put my top 5 list right here. Is it worth it to learn full OLL? Oh, it's absolutely worth it. But you can get pretty far without it. I think I have like a low 9 hours of 12 with 2-look OLL somewhere on my channel. I'll link it up in the card if I find it. Do you still use that weird Z-perm Alec from your alternative PLL video? I'm trying to stop, but yes I do. Yeah. Why are you not going to switch back to your old hairstyle? Because it was ugly. Why does toothpaste taste so good? I'm concerned, honestly. Toothpaste has fluoride in it, and fluoride is what they put in rat poison, so don't swallow toothpaste, kids. What's the most brutal accident that's happened to you? So I broke this wrist snowboarding when I was about 8. Because of that, my 2 wrists look really different still, and that doesn't even come close, but when I was hanging up my LED lights this morning, I did cut up my thumb a little bit. Nowhere close. How many cubes do you have? Over 200 at the very least. I'll count them at some point. How to improve faster F2l? Watch my videos. Here are some really good ones to watch in order to get faster F2l. This is not related to cubing, but what is the last name of Obama? I get this question a lot, and a lot of people have their own theories, but anyone who's really educated on the topic will tell you that Obama's last name is Care. Do you think everyone should go to a competition? If yes, why? Because it gives cubers a chance to interact with other cubers in a way that you can't really get just online. It's really amazing. I cannot overstate how amazing your first competition is, but it can only happen if you accept that you're not going to win your first one, if you accept that the official results don't really matter, and just go. How did I meet and become friends with Brian Johnson? So, Brian, he's good at everything, but the first thing he was really good at was 2x2. So I met him for the first time in early 2016, back when my main event was 2x2. And so I just came up to him and was like, hey, you want to race 2x2? And he did, and he destroyed me. I still have it on video somewhere on my channel. So we started talking then, and then he became a really good cuber, and I became a pretty good cuber a little bit after he did. And we live in the same region at the very least, so we see each other at comps and we talk a little bit. We don't talk like online or anything though. Can you dab? I am physically unable to dab, so stop asking. I'm stuck at a 30-second solve. How can I get faster? I've been stuck there for 3 months. Well, if you've ever wanted to find a whole channel full of advice on 3x3 that'll help you get faster, you've come to the right place. And if you really listen to the advice in my videos, you're not going to be stuck at sub 30 for much longer. What's a hobby that you sometimes do other than cubing? I play Mario Kart, I lift weights, and those are my 2 other main hobbies. Am I happy with my cubing results? I'd say yes, but I still want to get them better. So, like, I'm happy with where they are now, but if I could never compete ever again, I would not be happy with my current results. Let's put it that way. Will you not stop cubing until your old grandpa days? Probably. I think I'm going to be cubing at least on some level for as long as my hands can possibly take it, I think. Is YouTube my permanent job? It's probably not going to be, but it's my only job for now, and I think it's going to be that way for a while. Yeah, I think that's all there is for this video. So, thank you guys for watching. If you have any more questions for a future Q&A that may or may not happen, leave them in the comments below. If you want to get a cubicle mask, links to that are in the description. I'll see you guys really soon, probably even on Saturday is my next video. I'll see you then. Hope you guys have a great day. This is Brody, signing out.